Part 1. Your kitchen can become your English classroom. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the lesson. Let me ask you a simple question. Do you really need to sit at a desk to improve your English? Do you need a grammar book, a notebook, and 2 hours of free time? Not always. In fact, some of the best English practice can happen while you are doing something completely ordinary. Something you already do every day. Cooking. Yes, cooking can become an English lesson. Think about your kitchen. Look around you. You have a spoon, a knife, a plate, a bowl, a pan, a stove, vegetables, water, oil, salt, and many other things around you. And every one of these things can give you an English word. Every action can give you an English sentence. And every step can become a speaking exercise. This is important because many English learners study English, but they do not actually use it in their daily lives. They learn the word onion. But when they see an onion, they do not think in English. They learn the word cut. But when they start cooking, they do not say, "I am cutting the onion." And this is the problem. English stays inside the textbook. It does not become part of everyday life. But today, we are going to change that. We are going to connect English with real life. You will learn vocabulary through objects. You will learn grammar through actions. You will practice speaking through sentences. You will improve your listening by repeating natural English. And little by little, you will train yourself to think in English. Not by sitting with a dictionary for hours, not by memorizing hundreds of difficult words, but by using English in the things you already do. So, while you watch this lesson, do not just listen. Speak with me. Listen to the sentence, then repeat it. Listen again, and repeat it again. If you need more time, pause the video, take a breath, and say the sentence out loud. Do not worry if your English is not perfect. The goal is not to speak perfectly. The goal is to practice. And most importantly, try these techniques. The next time you enter your kitchen, look at the objects around you. Name them in English. Describe what you are doing in English, and turn your everyday actions into English practice. Because your English classroom may already be waiting for you. You may not need a classroom at all. It may be right inside your kitchen. So, take a breath, look around you, and get ready to learn English through everyday life. Let's step into the kitchen and start learning English. Part 2. See it, say it, use it. Let us begin with the simplest technique. I call it, see it, say it, use it. When you enter your kitchen, do not immediately start cooking. First, look around. Choose 5 things you can see. Maybe you see a spoon. Say, spoon. Now look at the knife. Say, knife. Look at the plate. Plate. Look at the pan. Pan. And finally, look at the onion. Onion. Very simple, right? But now, we are going to make the practice more powerful. Do not stop at one word. Turn the word into a sentence. Look at the spoon and say, "This is a spoon." Pick it up and say, "I am holding a spoon." Use it and say, "I am using a spoon." Now, take the onion. Say, "This is an onion." Pick it up. "I am holding an onion." Start cutting it. "I am cutting an onion." One word has now become several useful sentences. This is how you should practice vocabulary. Do not only memorize words, use them. Vocabulary becomes powerful when you can put it into a sentence. So today, choose 5 objects in your kitchen. Name them. Make a sentence with each one. Then try to describe what you are doing with them. For example, "This is a knife." "I am holding the knife." "I am using the knife." "I am cutting the vegetables with the knife." Notice what happened. The sentence became longer naturally. You did not memorize a complicated sentence. You simply added information. And that is the first step toward speaking English more naturally. One word became a sentence. One sentence became a longer sentence. And this simple habit can help you build your English one step at a time. Part 3. Turn one word into many sentences. Now, let us take this technique one step further. One of the biggest problems English learners face is knowing a word but not knowing how to use it. For example, you may know the word water, but can you use it in 5 different sentences? Let us try. First, water. Now, this is water. Next, I am using water. Now, make it more specific. I am pouring water into the pot. And now, add a reason. I am pouring water into the pot because I am cooking rice. Look at how the sentence grew. We started with one word. Then, we created a simple sentence. Then, we added an action. Then, we added more information. This is an excellent technique for improving your speaking. You can do the same thing with almost any word. Take salt. Salt. This is salt. I am adding salt. I am adding some salt to the vegetables. I am adding some salt because the food needs more flavor. Now, try oil. Oil. This is oil. I am adding oil to the pan. The oil is getting hot. Notice what you are doing. You are not simply learning vocabulary. You are learning sentence formation. And that is much more useful for speaking. So remember, this simple rule. One word, one sentence. Then, make the sentence bigger. Do not worry about using difficult vocabulary. You can become a better speaker with very simple words if you know how to combine them. Start with what you already know. Then, add one small piece of information. Then, add another. Little by little, your short sentences become complete thoughts. And complete thoughts are what you need for real conversations. Part 4. Describe every action. Now, we are going to use one of the most powerful English learning techniques in this lesson. Describe everything you do. Cooking is full of actions. You wash, you cut, you peel, you chop, you boil, you fry, you stir, you mix, you pour, you add, you heat, you taste, you serve. These are extremely useful English verbs, and you will use them again and again in everyday English. So instead of cooking silently, talk to yourself in English. When you wash the vegetables, say, I am washing the vegetables. When you cut the carrot, say, I am cutting the carrot. When you peel the potato, say, I am peeling the potato. When you chop the onion, say, I am chopping the onion. When you heat the oil, say, I am heating the oil. When you add spices, say, I am adding spices. When you stir the food, say, I am stirring the food. When you taste the food, say, I am tasting the food. You are practicing vocabulary. But something else is happening too. You are practicing grammar. Most of these sentences use the present continuous tense, and you are learning it naturally because you can actually see the action happening. You do not have to spend 10 minutes memorizing grammar rules. Look at the action. Then ask yourself, what am I doing right now? And answer in English. I am cooking. I am cutting. I am washing. I am mixing. This makes grammar meaningful. Your body is doing the action. Your eyes are seeing the action, your brain understands the action, and your mouth describes it in English. That combination makes the language easier to remember. So from today, do not stay silent while cooking. Talk, describe, repeat. Turn every action into an English sentence. The more actions you describe, the more English you use. And the more English you use, the more natural your speaking becomes. Part 5. Turn your cooking into a story. Now, imagine you are making an omelet. Normally, you might simply cook it without saying anything. But today, you are going to turn the entire process into an English story. Start with the first action. First, I am taking 2 eggs. Next, I am breaking the eggs into a bowl. Then, I am adding a little salt. Next, I am adding some chopped onion. Now, I am mixing everything together. The pan is getting hot. Say, the pan is getting hot. Add some oil. I am adding some oil to the pan. Now, pour the mixture. I am pouring the egg mixture into the pan. Continue. I am cooking the omelet. I am turning it carefully. Finally, the omelet is ready. Now, listen to the whole thing together. You have just created a short English story, and you created that story from your real-life activity. This is a powerful way to improve speaking. Because speaking is not only about making individual sentences, you also need to connect sentences. You need to explain what happened first, what happened next, and what happened at the end. That is why cooking is such a useful practice activity. It already has a natural sequence. First, you prepare, then you cook, then you taste, finally, you serve. You can describe every step, and you can use simple English. You do not need advanced vocabulary. You do not need complicated grammar. You simply need to explain what you are doing. So, choose one dish the next time you cook. Maybe it is rice. Maybe it is tea. Maybe it is an omelet. Maybe it is vegetables. Then tell the story in English from beginning to end. Part 6. Describe taste, smell, texture, and appearance. English is not only about actions. Real conversations also involve descriptions. And cooking gives you many opportunities to describe things. Think about the food in front of you. Look at it and ask yourself, how does it smell? You can say, it smells good, or the food smells delicious. Now, what does it taste like? You can say, it tastes spicy. It tastes sweet. It is too salty. It needs more salt. Now, think about the texture. Is the food soft? You can say, it is soft. Is it crispy? It is crispy. Is it hard? It is still hard. You can also describe the temperature. For example, the pan is hot. The water is warm. The food is still hot. And now, look at the food again. What does it look like? You can say, it looks delicious. The vegetables look fresh. The rice looks ready. These simple sentences are extremely useful. Why? Because they are the kind of sentences people use in everyday conversations. When you meet someone, you do not always talk about complicated topics. You talk about what you see. You talk about what you like. You talk about how something feels. You talk about how something tastes. So, do not limit your English practice to grammar exercises. Use your senses, look at the food, smell it, taste it, touch it safely. Then, describe it in English. This gives your brain a direct connection between an experience and an English sentence. You see the food, you experience it, and then you describe it. That makes the English more meaningful, and the more you practice this way, the more natural your English can become. So remember, this simple pattern: see it, feel it, describe it, and finally, say it in English. The next time you cook, do not just prepare your food. Use the moment to practice English. Look, listen, smell, taste, and describe. Your kitchen can become a place where you experience English and speak English at the same time. Part 7. Use first, then, next, and finally. Now, we are going to make your English sound more organized, and you can do this with just a few simple linking words. Use first, then, next, after that, and finally. These simple words help you connect your ideas. They help your listener understand what happens step by step. Imagine you are making tea. Instead of saying random sentences, put your ideas in order. Say, first, I am boiling some water. Then I am adding tea powder. Next, I am adding sugar. After that, I am adding milk. And finally, I am stirring the tea and serving it. Now, your English sounds like a small story. It has a beginning, a middle, and an ending. You can use the same technique for almost anything. Imagine you are making rice. Start with, first, I am washing the rice. Then I am adding water. Next I am putting the pot on the stove. After that I am turning on the stove. And finally, I am waiting for the rice to cook. Notice how easy it becomes to follow your ideas. These linking words are simple, but they are extremely useful. They help you organize your thoughts. And when your thoughts are organized, speaking becomes easier. You can also use these words when telling stories, explaining a process, describing your day, or giving instructions. So, here is your practice. Choose one dish. Then, explain how you make it. But there is one rule. You must use at least 4 connecting words. Start with, first, continue with, then, add, after that, and finish with, finally. Do not worry if your English is simple. The goal is not to sound complicated. The goal is to make your ideas clear, because clear English is useful English, and organized English is easier for other people to understand. So, the next time you cook, do not just describe what you are doing. Put your ideas in order. First, then next, after that, and finally. Little by little, your English will sound clearer, smoother, and more natural. Part 8. Make your sentences longer. Now, let us work on fluency. Many English learners can speak short sentences. For example, I am cooking. That is correct. It is simple and clear. But what if you want to say more? You do not need difficult words. You do not need complicated grammar. Simply add information. Start with, I am cooking rice. Now, add a little more. I am cooking rice for lunch. And now, add another idea. I am cooking rice for lunch because my family is hungry. See how naturally the sentence grows. You can use the same method with almost any sentence. Start with, I am cutting an onion. Then, I am cutting an onion for the curry. Now, add a reason. I am cutting an onion for the curry because I am making lunch. Notice what happened. You did not suddenly learn difficult English. You simply added information. This is a very useful speaking technique because fluent speakers often do exactly this. They start with a simple idea and then add details. You can practice this while cooking. Look at your action. Say one sentence. Then ask yourself, can I add one more detail? For example, I am making tea. Now ask, what? I am making tea for myself. Now ask, when? I am making tea for myself this morning. And now ask, why? I am making tea for myself this morning because I feel tired. Now, you have a much richer sentence. And notice, you built it, one small step at a time. So, do not force yourself to speak difficult English. Build your sentences gradually. One word becomes one sentence. One sentence becomes a longer sentence. A longer sentence becomes a short explanation. And a short explanation becomes confident speaking. That is how you can grow your English step by step. So the next time you are in your kitchen, start small. Say one sentence, then add one detail, then add another, and keep building until your simple sentence becomes a complete thought. Little by little, your sentences will become longer, your ideas will become clearer, and your speaking will become more fluent. Part 9. Start thinking in English. Now, we come to one of the biggest challenges for English learners. Thinking in English. Many learners follow the same process. First, they think in their first language. Then, they translate the idea into English. And finally, they try to speak. This can make speaking slow, and sometimes it can make you hesitate. But daily activities can help you change this habit. And your kitchen is a perfect place to practice. Look at a spoon. Do not translate. Simply think. Spoon. Pick it up. Think. I am picking up the spoon. Look at the vegetables. Think. I am washing the vegetables. Turn on the stove. Think. I am turning on the stove. Pour water into the pot. Think. I am pouring water into the pot. Notice what is happening. You are connecting the situation directly with English. And that is the important part. You see something. You experience something. You think about it in English. Then you speak. You do not need to translate every single sentence. Instead, try to connect the experience directly to the English words. And remember, thinking in English does not happen overnight. It is a habit. The more often you practice, the easier it becomes. Start with very simple thoughts. I am hungry. The water is hot. I need a spoon. The pan is ready. I need some salt. These are simple sentences, but they are useful, and useful English is exactly what you need. So, the next time you cook, try something different. Do not only speak English. Try to think in English too. Your goal is simple. See the situation. Understand the situation. Think in English. Speak in English. See it. Understand it. Think it. And say it. Little by little, you will stop translating every thought. English will begin to feel more automatic. And one day, you may notice something very important. You are not translating in your head anymore. You are simply thinking in English. Part 10. Listen, repeat, and shadow. Speaking is important, but listening is equally important. If you want to speak natural English, you need to hear natural English regularly. So, use your cooking time for listening practice too. While preparing food, listen to a simple English story, podcast, or lesson. But do not just listen passively. Use the shadowing technique. Here is how it works. First, listen to a sentence. For example, I am cutting the vegetables. Pause, and now, repeat. I am cutting the vegetables. Listen again, and repeat again. Try to copy the speaker's pronunciation. Copy the rhythm, copy the pauses, and copy the way the words connect together. You do not need to speak perfectly. At first, the goal is to train your mouth and your ears. You can practice with simple sentences. Listen. I am making tea. Repeat. I am making tea. Listen. The water is getting hot. Repeat. The water is getting hot. Listen. The food smells delicious. Repeat. The food smells delicious. This kind of practice helps connect listening and speaking. And you do not need a special study session. You can practice while cooking, while cleaning, while walking, or while preparing breakfast. But remember, safety comes first. If you are working with a hot pan, boiling water, or a sharp knife, focus on the task first. You can practice English when it is safe to do so. English practice should fit naturally into your life. It should not make your daily activities difficult or unsafe. So, listen, pause, repeat, copy, and practice regularly. Little by little, your ears will become more familiar with natural English. Your mouth will become more comfortable speaking English. And your pronunciation, rhythm, and fluency can improve together. Remember, listen, pause, repeat, copy, and practice. That simple routine can become a powerful part of your English learning journey. Part 11. The 1-Minute English Challenge. Now, it is time for a challenge. The next time you cook, speak English for 1 full minute. 1 minute. That is all. Do not worry about perfect grammar. Do not stop after every sentence, and do not translate everything in your head. Just keep talking. Let us imagine you are making tea. You can say, "Today I am making tea. First I am boiling some water. Now I am adding tea powder. I am adding some sugar. Next, I am adding milk. The tea is getting hot. I am stirring it slowly. It smells really good. Now the tea is ready. And finally, I am pouring it into a cup." That is your 1-minute speaking practice. The next day, try again. But this time, change some of the sentences. Maybe you are making rice. Maybe you are preparing vegetables. Maybe you are making breakfast. The food does not matter. The practice matters. And after a few days, increase the challenge. Speak for 2 minutes, then 3 minutes. You may make mistakes. That is completely fine. Mistakes are part of learning. Your goal is not perfect English. Your goal is to keep speaking. If you forget a word, use an easier word. If you make a grammar mistake, continue. If you cannot remember a complicated sentence, make it simpler. For example, instead of saying a long sentence, simply say, "I am cooking rice." That is enough. Then, continue. The water is hot. I am adding salt. The rice is cooking. simple English is still English. So, give yourself this challenge. 1 minute, one dish. English only. Do it every day. At first, 1 minute may feel difficult. You may pause. You may forget words. You may make mistakes. But keep going, because every minute you spend speaking is another minute of real English practice. And after regular practice, you may notice something very important. Speaking starts to feel easier. Your sentences come faster. You hesitate less, and you become more comfortable speaking English. So, start with 1 minute, one dish, one simple goal. Keep speaking. Little by little, 1 minute can become 2 minutes. 2 minutes can become 3. And one day, you may find yourself speaking English without being afraid of every little mistake. Part 12. Make English part of your everyday life. Now, let us put everything together. You have learned several techniques today. First, name the objects around you. Second, turn words into sentences. Third, describe every action. Fourth, describe the taste, the smell, the texture, and the appearance. Fifth, connect your sentences with words like first, then, next, after that, and finally. Sixth, make short sentences longer by adding information. Seventh, practice thinking in English. Eighth, listen and repeat using shadowing. And finally, challenge yourself to speak for 1 minute. None of these techniques requires a special classroom. You can practice while making tea. You can practice while cooking rice. You can practice while washing vegetables. You can practice while preparing breakfast. You can practice for 5 minutes, or you can practice for 10 minutes. The important thing is consistency, because fluency does not come from studying English once and forgetting it the next day. Fluency grows when you use English again and again and again. At first, saying these sentences may feel strange. You may feel shy. You may make mistakes. That is okay. Keep going. After some time, the sentences will become easier. You may see an onion and automatically think, I need to cut the onion. You may see a pan and think, the pan is hot. You may pour water and immediately think, I am pouring some water. That is the change we are looking for. English is becoming part of your normal life. So remember this final idea. Your kitchen is not only a place to cook. It can also be a place to learn. Your ingredients can teach you vocabulary. Your actions can teach you grammar. Your cooking process can teach you sentence structure. And your daily routine can give you speaking practice. Do not wait until your English is perfect. Use the English you already know. Start with one word. Turn it into a sentence. Turn the sentence into an explanation. And turn the explanation into a conversation. because fluency does not begin with perfect English. Fluency begins when you start using the English you already know. So, keep listening, keep speaking, keep practicing, and make English a part of your everyday life. And here is your challenge. After this lesson, go into your kitchen. Choose one object, choose one action, and speak in English for 1 minute. Do it today. Then, do it again tomorrow. If this lesson helped you, like the video and subscribe to English Espresso for more English listening practice and learn English through simple, real-life stories and situations. And if you are ready for the challenge, write "I will speak English" in the comments. Remember, you do not need a perfect classroom. You do not need perfect grammar. You simply need to start. 1 word, 1 sentence, 1 minute, 1 day at a time. Keep learning, keep speaking, and most importantly, keep going. I'll see you in the next lesson.